Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you enjoy the paranormal ghost stories, then you've come to the right channel. My stories are read either whispered or soft-spoken. So today I'm going to read some stories that were uploaded onto Reddit, and the question that was posed was, what was the most paranormal thing you've seen? Now some I'm going to read, and I may have to go ahead and read some of the comments because some of the comments are funny. So let's go ahead and get started. Also, the people that have uploaded their stories, I will put their names down in the description box below. So the first story, I was probably around 11 or 12 and went to go to the bathroom at night. And I saw a dark figure of a woman sitting on the toilet and turned to look at me. And for a brief moment, I thought it was my mom. I noticed my parents' bedroom door was open and went to check it and saw my mom laying there sleeping, and I started to freak out. Still had to pee really bad, so I ran to the other bathroom, and when I came back, it was gone. So here are a few comments that first come up, and they're funny, and so I wanted to read them. So read them as is, complete language, full disclosure. There's some cussing, I'm sure. We're all old enough here. So the first comment says, "So does that mean ghosts need to pee? Or did the ghost die using the bathroom a la Elvis, and she's doomed to relive that one moment?" Next comment, "Poor shitty ghost." Next comment, "Ghost name was Gigi, Cappy, Sisto, poor fuck." Doomed to relive that one moment. Imagine a horror movie of a haunted house, but the ghost shows up in embarrassing situations like they're on the toilet, but it's played 100% straight. Someone wrote, "I'm down to watch this. The jump scare tone and everything. Unfinished business." Okay, so that was the first story. I had to read the comments because I imagine you're a ghost, an entity of some kind, and you're on the toilet. I mean, if it were just me, I thought that once you're on the other side, you don't need to eat, drink, sleep. Now I'm guessing pee or poop. Thoughts? Our next story is, when I was a kid, around 15 years old, I was home alone, trying to sleep in my room, and my parents' house has a wooden floor, so you can hear people walk around the house easily. I started hearing noises as if someone was walking around the house and got confused, but I was also too scared to move. So I pulled the blanket over myself, just leaving the back of my head exposed, and kept hearing the sounds getting closer. Then suddenly, I just felt this cold air being blown towards the back of my head, as if someone was breathing on me. I was borderline shitting myself, thinking of some weirdo that broke into the house and is now gazing at my cranium. And and I was about to cry because the experience was genuinely traumatizing me. I kept feeling this breathing like breeze for some time till it stopped, and I heard something move out of my room, and then the sounds just vanished. I also sleep with the door to my room closed, and the next morning it was open. Safe to say I didn't sleep properly for weeks after that. I told my parents about it, and they checked for any signs of a person breaking in and found nothing. Also asked our next door neighbor to take a look at his cameras to see if anyone entered or left the house that night, and again, nothing. See, he had security cameras on his porch that could see into ours. Not really a paranormal thing, but that I saw, I felt, because there was definitely something in our house, and it still creeps the fuck out of me to this day. Our next story is, I've posted this before and had a lot of strange experiences in my life, but this one always stands out. I was walking with my buddies to another friend's house around 1 a.m. one night. We had been drinking a bit, but the night was young and we were carrying on elsewhere and making our way down a long country road that was adjacent to some wide open fields that extended off into a distant forest. It was a clear moonlit night, and I remember feeling very clear-headed and enjoying the night air as we walked. As we walked along, I was casually drinking in the scenery in a way you can only do at 1 a.m. on a cool moonlit night, looking off into a field. As I so slowly scanned the area, I noticed something extremely dark, maybe 150 meters away. While the whole field was practically shining with moonlight and with light cloud patterns throwing bits of shade, this thing was as black as could be. It looked like a mass of obsidian, Fanta black, that was low to the ground. It was like something had an impossibly black blanket or shroud tossed over it, and it seemed to be very slowly moving in a drifting, shuffling kind of manner. I remember staring at it for 5 long seconds before I felt like I was jolted and realized I was looking at something very wrong. As the moonlight swept across the field and moved and the clouds played across the field, this thing was just there looking like a total absence of light. Just pure blackness, shuffling slowly low to the ground. I watched it with shocked fascination until we walked past the field and I lost it. I felt like I was too stunned to say anything and only brought it up when we got to my friend's house. All my friends ribbed me and laughed at me and said I was skunked, seeing shit in the dark, that I didn't see anything. They didn't even let me describe what I saw. I pretty much got out that I saw some fucked up shit in the field, and they were like, leave it alone, man. We don't need that tonight. A few minutes later, my friend's then girlfriend came over to me and quietly said that she saw something strange too, that she saw something very, very black that looked incredibly strange and out of place. I told her I saw the same thing and thanked her for making me feel sane, and we never ended up talking about it again. Nowadays, when I think about it, I'm like, what could that possibly have been? Some kind of alien with a cloaking shroud? A night or forest spirit just spooking out in the field? I just can't think of anything to describe it. The whole field around it, in front of it, behind it, was lit with bright, sweeping moonlight, and this thing was just completely and utterly black, like a void. What the hell was it? Our next story starts out, ask and you shall receive. I'll give you another of the biggest ones I experienced, but it's going to be lengthy. We'll try to give you too lazy to read at the end. I slept on the 3rd floor in this large attic-like space with no doors and slanted ceilings, directly above my sister's room. It was a really old house, and we didn't have the money to always keep up with the needed repairs, and many of the ones that slipped past us happened to involve the roof above my bedroom. So I had a lot of leaking that would happen in my room when it rained. How we dealt with this was putting cooking pots on my floor under the leaks to catch the drips. They stayed there constantly because, well, you never know when a drizzle would start. And I was off at college. My older parents didn't want to have to run upstairs for every possible rain. This is important to remember for later in the story. Anyway, I came home from college for a weekend, and my sister told me that since I had left for college, she kept hearing someone walk above her room, which, reminder, was my bedroom. We were the only kids living in the house as my brother had moved, and my parents never went to the 3rd floor ever. She said every single night after everyone was in bed, she'd hear the creaks of someone walking in my room. Distant footsteps, loud. She'd asked my parents, and they swore they hadn't gone up, which they would have to pass her room to get by up there anyway. And again, old creaky house, she would have heard them walk by. But they believed her fully, as they had heard footsteps and walking too. There was a strange storage space across from my room in a similar style, with the slanted ceilings and no door, and they were connected, only separated by the landing at the top of the stairs, and the sheets I hung for privacy to act as a door. We were super classy, obviously. They said they had heard the walking in the spare storage room also, and could hear whatever it was walking over on my side of the space. I honestly didn't think much of it, as I had lived in that house for 20 years and experienced a lot of weird crap. So I shrugged it off. But over that weekend, as I stayed in that room, something happened that cemented for me just how haunted the house really was. I was asleep on the far side of the room, away from the stairs. Remember those pots I mentioned? This is where they come into play. Something about them I didn't mention was that some were next to each other, almost touching but not quite. And when I'd walk across my old creaky floor, the floorboards would shift and certain spots you stepped on would cause the pots to clink together, something I grew very used to hearing as I walked across my room over the years. One night, I'm in bed, asleep, and I'm awoken by the sound of the pots clinking and the floor creaking, the unmistakable noise I had heard millions of times before as I walked that room myself. I could hear the progression. First, the pot closest to the stairs clinking against another as someone, or thing, I guess, walked by it. Then, the next set of pots clinking closer. Then, the floorboard that creaked halfway into my room. I could tell something was walking towards my bed. I had my back toward where the noise was coming from because, like a psychopath, I slept facing the wall in a haunted house. Eventually, I heard the creak of the floorboard directly next to my bed, which in all actuality was an air mattress on the floor again. Very classy. And could feel the floorboard under the mattress shift, as if someone was standing over my bed. I rolled over and looked up to see a giant, maybe 7 feet tall shadow standing over my bed, leaning over so its shoulders and head shape were over my bed. No discernible features other than the fact that it was possibly huge, wide shoulders, and was incredibly tall and large. No facial features, just a giant, solid shadow. I covered myself with the blanket, which in retrospect is not the best mode of escape. But what am I gonna do? Run from a demon? I hid under my covers for a while and never heard any movement. I finally mustered the courage to peek back out, and nothing was there. Somehow, I slept again that night, though not well. In the morning, I told my mom what had happened, and before I was able to describe the shadow man, as I called it, to my mom, she interrupted me to say, was it this giant solid shadow, like impossibly tall and wide? When I asked how she knew, she said she'd woken up before to see him standing in her bedroom door. In that incident, in her sleepy haze, she thought it was my dad getting ready for work and tried to speak to him, but then from behind her, my dad, who was sleeping in bed, said Mom's name. What are you going on about? It's in the middle of the night. Mom looked at him, looked back at the door, and the figure was gone. We moved shortly after this for separate reasons, and as I went into therapy also for separate reasons, I started to have memories come back to me from my childhood. Memories that included me speaking to what I called as a child the blue shadow man in my parents' room. He'd stand in the corner and I'd talk to him. I don't remember much about it when I was younger and him, but I can picture it vividly now, and I'm sure he had been in the house all those decades, only reappearing to me in my 20s. I sometimes wonder if the new owners have seen him/it, but don't want to ask and terrify the poor people. Again, one of many stories, but probably one of the best ones. There were multiple entities in that house. I should really start putting these things in writing somewhere. Thanks for the interest. I don't get to share it this often, as I think people will think that I'm crazy. Laugh my ass off. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed some of these stories. And of course, the first story with the comments and the ghost or entity on the toilet. How would you like to be remembered or seen? It's not funny, but if it happened to me, I know I would be scared. But later on telling it, it sounds funny. So I'm not making fun of the person. I just find it funny that they found a ghost sitting on the toilet. Very vulnerable. Thank you for watching, and stay a little scared. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Until next time.